Hey everyone, this is Seka. Welcome to the Broom Closet. I realized I have not done a video like this in quite a long time. My Book of Shadows game has really been off. The last time I did any Book of Shadows pages, I tried to record them on my webcam, but it was not plugged in. It just seems to be an ongoing issue that I get really into the project I'm doing, but none of my recording equipment is set up. So I wanted to do this little short page. I know we're nowhere near Samhain. We're not even thinking about it. I hope everyone had a great Beltane. But a while ago, someone requested that I kind of do a progress or process video about how I do my Book of Shadows pages. And I know I had done a few before, but here is just another small video about how I do them. Usually I will find my inspiration on Pinterest or just Googling things, and I took the inspiration from a few different sources for this one. If anyone has read The Witches of New York by Amy McKay, there is a scene in which she lays out the rules of a dumb supper. And I was really inspired by that, so I bookmarked it and I wrote them all out. So on the back here, you can see I have the rules 1 through 10, 1 through 11, written out as they were in the book, and I think it's a pretty good start. So what I did was I threw those into Photoshop, found a nice header, and printed those out. I also printed a title for the front of the page. The rules will be on the back of the page. And I was inspired by, obviously, the Practical Magic Book of Shadows, and I noticed that a lot of their imagery looks like a red stamp. So instead of having a black and white here at the bottom corner, I transformed it to red in Photoshop. I have not actually put pencil to paper in my Book of Shadows for a long time. A lot of it has been Photoshop and scrapbook style. I have a whole laundry list that I want to do for the Book of Shadows, but it's hard getting back into it after being off of it for so long. I am waiting on a surprise to come in the mail, and I think that is what's holding me back. I'm like, oh, if only this would come, then I would be inspired. I could get this all organized, and I'm gonna do an unboxing of what that is. It just hasn't come in the mail yet. So until then, I have all these page ideas. So I'm gonna try to get back to the Seka broom closet roots and doing Book of Shadows pages. Again, most of this information I got from the online. One of my sources is The Witch of Lupine Hollow. I will put all of these in the description. And I just pick and chose what I wanted. I have not had a dumb supper. I really want to. Every year for Samhain, I will set up my ancestral altar or the loved ones who have come before, and I will do that. I don't even have a dining room. I don't even have a kitchen table to set up a dumb supper on. So I think this year I'm gonna have it outside, and I'm gonna do this. I'm so excited to do this, to be outside on Halloween at midnight performing a dumb supper. And it's so cool that it's in reverse. I can't wait to try this. So another source is learningreligions.com and Moody Moons. So I'll put all these in the description at the bottom and you can see them there. And I know everyone has their own connection to different times of the year, but I think we can all agree that Halloween, Samhain is like the pinnacle. It is such an exciting time of year, and you all know that autumn is my favorite time. And out here in California, we don't get the unadulterated version of autumn with the leaves changing, but we get our own version. So I thought during the next couple minutes I could share a few ghost stories with you. I will try to recall them the best of my ability. This first story is not a ghost story. It is just an embarrassing tale that happened when I was younger. I was probably 13, maybe 14, and there was a farm on our road. We could walk to it, took like 5 minutes to walk to, and a family friend owned it. When we were younger, we would take quote unquote haunted hay rides down there. My grandfather had a tractor. He would hook up the cart to the back, and all the kids would climb in, and we would ride down to the farm through the woods. There was a creek you had to go over, and it was all overhanging branches and the creaking trees at night. And at the end of this really long trail in the woods was an abandoned silo. And as a kid, you get so scared of these things. But afterward, we would walk to it in the daytime. That was our hangout place as we got older. But during this particular 13-year-old experience during Halloween, I asked my brothers, I was like, hey, I'm going to invite a friend this year and I want to scare her. I want us to go down to the woods, go on the trail, and scare her. My older brother is 3 years older than I, so he got his friends were over and they were hanging out with us, and we were going on our hayride. We got down in the woods, and the trick was to pull the choke lever on the tractor to make it sound like it was stalling out. And all of my brother's friends were there. My friend was there, my little brother was there, and I knew it was going to happen. However, I didn't know how they were going to do it because they were all there. I didn't know how they were going to scare her because everybody was accounted for. So, what they had planned for us was when we got down there, they all started freaking out. They were really good actors. And they were yelling at us like, "Did you hear that? Like, look, what is that? What is that over there?" And they were pointing toward the silo. And over in the pitch black of the night, through the creaking trees and through this dense, dark forest, there was somebody walking toward us. There was someone walking toward us. And I'm like trying to be the cool 13-year-old, like, guys, I know you're trying to scare us. Like, we were going to scare her. And they're like pushing us, like, you need to run. You need to get out of here. So we're like running, and I'm like, you're not scaring us. So I eventually I see this bigger person walking toward us with a scythe. And so I pushed my brother's guy friends out of the way. I elbowed them into the bushes and I ran. I got out of there. So my friend and my little brother and I ran out to the clearing, and everybody else, all the my brother's friends and my older brother, are back in the wooded area yelling. And I'm like, either this is a really good trick or we're gonna all die. Either way, I ran home. I ran home because I was like, I'm gonna tell on them. Like, this is so not cool. I left my friend and I left my little brother and I booked it home pissed. I was like, I can't believe you did that. And this is a story they will never let me forget because they had asked my grandfather, he always seems taller than he is. He's probably like 6 foot, but to me, he's like 6'4", to go down to the woods in his like trashy clothes and like come out with a scythe. So it was my grandpa the whole time coming at us, but they'll never let me forget this story of being so scared or so pissed off that I ran all the way home to tell on them. This next story is an actual ghost story, and it is one of many. I was helping my aunt clean out her house. At the time, I was trying to do an organization business, so we spent a couple days cleaning out her house. And there was a few nights that I had to stay over there. Her house, you have to go down a hallway to get to the bedrooms. And it was only my aunt who lived there, and her extra guest room was where she kept most of her things, like lots of clothes, lots of boxes, lots of gifts. So I had to go in there quite a few times. The first few times I went in there was fine. We were moving things around, we were taking things out together. The next few times that I had gone in there on my own, I would walk in. It felt like if a bird were to fly past your face. This whoosh of blurred black energy came from my bottom right hand side as I walked in into the majority of the room. And it took me back. I looked around, I didn't see any bugs, I didn't see any birds. So I went in, I got what I needed to do, and I went back out. The next time I went in there, it happened again. However, I was already in the room when I turned around to leave. This black energy flew past my face again. At this point in my life, I had had paranormal activity happen to me, so I kind of knew what was happening. My aunt lived there on her own, so I don't know what is attached to her or what is there, but I left the room quite quickly that time. The next time I went in, something stopped me before I opened the door, and I felt a strong urge to announce myself. Before I walked in, before I turned the handle, I said, I am just coming in for this box and I'm going to leave. So please don't fly in front of me again because that startled me. So I went in, I got what I needed, and left. I had to stay over that night, and that was the room I was supposed to sleep in. That night, as I got ready for bed, I got undressed. There was a wall with a bed, there was a window with a computer under it, and across from the bed on the opposite wall was the closet. When I turned the light off and I crawled into bed, there was this overwhelming feeling of something right there between the closet and myself. And I squeezed my eyes shut as tight as I could. and tried to just ignore it, just ignore it, just ignore it. But it felt like there was just something crouched there watching. So I went over, I turned the light back on for a little while, and then I shut it off again, tried to get back to sleep. Within 5 minutes, the computer turned on and started playing music. It started playing like an old Celine Dion concert. The screen was not on, but the computer itself and the speakers were playing music. This, as you can imagine, startled me out of my attempt to find some kind of peace and sleep. I ran, I turned the lights on, I looked at the computer, the screen's not going on. So I used the mouse, I logged into the computer, and I shut it down. I hit the shut down button to turn it off. I crawled back in bed. 10 minutes later, the music started playing again. It had turned itself back on and started playing again. I have goosebumps talking about it right now. So I jumped up, I shut down the computer, I unplugged it, I crawled back into bed, and needless to say, I did not get any sleep that night. I did not choose to spend a second night in this room, and the following day, every time I would go back there, I would just say, I'm coming in and leave. I told my aunt, I'm not sure who's back here. We have another family member who passed away that she was really close to, so it could be her, but there was something definitely there. Guys, thanks for joining me on this little spooky episode. Whatever is there, I did not stay long enough to find out. Everyone, I can't thank you enough for hanging out with me today and watching my Book of Shadows page for the Dumb Supper. I'd like to know if this is something that you do as part of your path or a part of the tradition with your family, and let me know if there are any unique things that you include for your Dumb Supper. Guys, thank you for joining me here in the broom closet. I hope to talk to you again soon. Have a wonderful week and blessed be.